Welcome to Hot Flashbacks, where we boldly navigate the ups and downs and unexpected detours of our 30s and 40s while finally recalling how clueless we were in our 20s. I'm Molly Ward, your captain through this midlife roller coaster. Stick around for laughs, life lessons, and maybe a few I can't believe I survived that stories. Follow our journey on Instagram and Facebook at Hot Flashbacks. Make sure to like, follow, and share so I can keep making these episodes. Let's dive in.
I don't know, like, Grandma, we're going to go to the store, put on a bra, we're going out in public, you know? And things like that, you know? And she, I remember her telling me, I'm over 50, I can do what I want.
Welcome back to Hot Flashbacks. I'm here today with my friend Rochelle. She's taking a drink of a beer. Was that a beer?
No, it's a LaCroix.
Okay, well, whatever. She's taking a drink of a LaCroix. Rochelle, thanks for being here today.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell all of our lovely listeners a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you're from, how old are you, and how old do you feel?
Oh, gosh, that's an existential question. So yeah, I'm Rochelle. I am from Salt Lake City, and I don't live that far from it. I live in North Salt Lake now, so didn't make it that far as an adult. I'm 39. And 39 and a half. So, yeah.
4-0 is coming. It's stalking you.
It's like looming. It's like on the horizon. I can see it. Yeah. I have 3 kids, and I have 12-year-old twins and then a 1-year-old baby. So huge gap between them. I don't know. What else?
Where do you work? What do you do?
Where do I work? Well, are we allowed to say where we work?
I mean, if you want to, you could speak in code. Yeah, I mean, I don't care.
Okay, well, I work for a university.
Okay.
And obviously I work with you, and that's how we know each other. And I do student health and wellness. So I have a background in public health, and that's kind of how I made my way to more of a university setting. But I've done all kinds of different prevention topics. Worked Planned Parenthood when I was in college, and then I did chronic disease prevention right out of college, and now I'm working with college students. So that's why you're drinking a LaCroix and not a beer on a Sunday afternoon. Yeah. Okay. Because if I had 12-year-old twins and a 1-year-old, I would be drinking not 1 beer, but two beers. Well, I mean, I'm still breastfeeding. So
okay. So you can't do that, right? That's
no.
Like, okay.
Well, I mean, you can, you just have to time it right. And it's just kind of a pain, but
you can like,
I've never been a day drinker. It doesn't end well for me.
I feel like, day drinking is like a thing that I did when I was younger that I no longer can do. Or if I do, it's just all I do. I can have a few drinks a day because I'm going to sleep at like 7:00 at night. Like that's what
100%. Yes.
It used to be day drinking led to night drinking. And now it's day drinking leads to bedtime.
Early bedtime. Yes.
And hangover at like 8 p.m. I don't need that.
I sleep through it. I wouldn't know. I'm asleep by then.
Good for you. So
I just can't start because it just ruins my day.
Yeah. That's how I feel about champagne. I used to like it, or I'd kind of like, in my 20s and 30s, I'm going to go to brunch with my friends and there's bottomless mimosas. Dude, I don't know what it is about champagne, but if I have a mimosa, I need to sit down. Like it knocks me on my ass.
Wow.
It makes me tired and sweaty.
What about other wine? Does other wine do it? It's just like a champagne.
No, I think it's just champagne. Yeah.
That's wild.
It's just champagne. So no champagne for me. It's not a good recipe. One time I had it was years ago when I lived in New Orleans, I had shoulder reconstructive surgery and I was still recovering. So I was still in my sling, but, I wanted to go to brunch. And so we went out to brunch, and it's like it's August in New Orleans. It's like very hot and sweaty. And I have on like this giant black shoulder brace sling, but also the pillow, right? So it keeps your shoulder like away from your body, but wearing a black pillow attached to your abdomen in New Orleans in the summer is like stiflingly hot. So anyway, I go to brunch and I order a mimosa, as people do when they go to brunch. And I forgot So anyway, I start sweating and I'm just like, I mean, drip, like you can see it's like dripping off of me. And I go through these phases of like being sweaty and being nauseous and then sort of hyperventilating. And then I think I'm going to throw up and I get the chills. And this all happens in like a 30-minute time period before my food comes. And I had to go to the parking lot and I was like, what is happening to me? And then I realized it's because I forgot that I had taken whatever pain pill I'm supposed to be taking. Like I didn't think about it. And so I had taken, I don't know, Oxy probably of some sort, codeine or cotton, or I don't know the difference. And then I had literally 4 sips of champagne and thought I was going to die. So I don't understand how people are taking prescription medications and drinking alcohol, because I did it one time on accident and thought I was going to die. But I know there are people who are doing that for fun. And I just, I thought I was on my deathbed for about an hour. So,
I mean, I don't understand how people take opiates for fun to begin with. They're not fun for me. They make me just violently itch and get nauseous and
itching. Sounds
terrible.
Can't
do it.
Sounds terrible.
It's like the tip of my nose itches violently every time I have
that sounds awful.
I'd rather have the pain than have like a violently itchy nose. So
you're like rubbing your face into the carpet. It's like,
no, one time when I had my wisdom teeth out and I would like, wake up, and I was freshman in college, actually, my mom said that my nose was like bright red, like a clown nose, because I had been just scratching it in my sleep. So I'm like, that's enough of that.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Good. So 40 is looming for you. You said looming.
Yeah.
That means like maybe you're a little bit not looking forward to it. What is it like to be 40 and realize that you still have to raise a child for 17 years?
I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. I mean, I say looming. It's not that I'm not looking forward to it. It's just, it is what it is, and I'm trying to have that mindset of like, it's a privilege to get older and it's a privilege to age, because it is. And in my family, everyone has horrible health. And that's what kind of led me to public health. My diabetes just runs rampant. And I actually got gestational diabetes when I was pregnant with the baby. So thanks for that genetic short straw. So I guess for me, I'm more concerned about like what health issues are coming down the pipeline. And the older I get, the more I'm like, am I getting closer to some of this stuff that I've seen my family go through? And, knock on wood, so far I've avoided it. And I do what I can to prevent it. But who knows what horrible game of roulette you've got hiding in your genetics. So that's what's scarier to me. But having a baby, I guess I just don't feel like I'm almost 40.
Yeah. How do you feel?
I feel like perpetually 32. Like, okay. I don't know. And I don't know why. Like, I don't know if there's some age that in your brain, it's just like, this is how old I am. And your brain never like moved along with how old you got,
Yeah, perception of age is weird. Like your perception of your own age. Because I always feel 35. Like, I don't know what happened because I'm 43.
Yeah.
But at some point I sort of like, maybe I stopped counting at 35. That's just how old I sort of like feel. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, same. And I don't know why there's some number that your brain's just like, that's it. And I'm done. And we're that forever. Period. Yeah. It's something random. Like, at least yours is a nice, denominator of 5. Mine's like 32. I don't know what that year was for me, but anyway.
That's interesting. So, yeah, I feel like
it's less about like raising a baby and just like, I don't know. It just is what it is.
Just a number. It's just a number.
Yeah, whatever.
And most of the time I feel like it's just a number, but occasionally I have moments where I realize like, oh, I'm that old. Do you know what I mean? And so, when you and I were talking about shooting this episode, I was thinking about how our memory works and the way that we remember things and how we start to experience memory gaps as you get older, which is a very normal phenomenon as you age. And I always thought that would happen to me when I was like 75. That's when you sort of start to not remember things, or people sort of crack jokes about how you didn't remember what happened yesterday. But it's pretty common to start experiencing memory gaps for women in perimenopause, and menopause for sure. But generally speaking, around your 40s, which, I think when you talk about some of your health issues, not yours, your family's sort of genetic health issues, my biggest concern for myself is Alzheimer's, which runs in my family. And every time I have one of these like memory moments where I'm like, why can I not remember something? I kind of have like this mini panic that like it's the beginning of the end. You know what I mean? Have you experienced memory gaps where you're like, wow, not just like I forgot my keys, but like moments of time periods that you really can't place or remember anything that happened?
Yeah, but I've always kind of been that way. Yeah. And I think I attribute it to just being too busy. I just have too much on my plate. And I don't know, I guess I've never really thought that maybe it's my brain giving up on me. Yeah, no, I've always forgotten the stupidest things, things that you absolutely should know, or in that moment you just draw a blank on it. And then it's always like 10 minutes later, you're like, oh my God, that's what it was. I remember it, but it's too late, So
it's me texting someone like, oh my gosh, I remember now. It was Ryan Gosling. Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, totally.
Yes. 6 hours later.
It was in that movie. It was him.
Yes. I do find myself having those kinds of memory gaps a lot when I'm watching television, as I see someone and I can place them as an actor or an actress that I know, and I need to know what they're from. This actually happened last night because I was watching The Bear. Have you seen The Bear on Hulu?
I've seen a few episodes.
Okay. So he's having a flashback, and one of his teachers in the flashback, I was like, who is that lady? Like, I recognize her. And Alex is really good at this. Like I can point out like almost anybody, and she'll be like, oh, they were in that show that we watched. They were in that movie. I cannot remember any of it. Like I can look at someone and recognize that I know them from something, and I cannot put the two things together. So that's what Google is for. But it's alarming how little, how little I can put things together and figure things out, especially like losing my keys is one thing. I think everybody misplaces their keys, regardless of your age, right? But, walking into the room and forgetting why you came. I have ADHD, so I'm not sure if that's like age related or if that's just my ADD. Does that happen to you?
So I have, I guess, an ADHD household, you could call it. My husband has it. He was diagnosed later in life. And looking back at his childhood, it's like, dude, you definitely had it. And his parents never got him the formal diagnosis. They never got him the help as a child. And so he's the person that loses his keys and loses his wallet. And I'm the person who's like, we have a hook by the door for the keys. So why aren't your keys on the hook by the door? And why isn't your wallet anywhere other than just on the dresser? Because that makes sense that it would be on the dresser, So for me, I always put things back in the same place, or I have these like routines that it's like I just do the same thing consistently. So that keeps me from doing that kind of stuff. But between him and then my 12-year-old daughter also has ADHD. So between the two of them, it's like I have to work double time to keep track of all of their stuff, and so that they don't forget things. And it does kind of make you almost feel like you've got ADHD a little bit, because I'm like, I can't keep track of all the different things that I have to keep track of. I mean, it's enough for myself, but then you throw other humans on top of it, and I'm trying to keep track of all of their shit, and it just doesn't work so well.
Yeah, it's not just you that you're trying to keep track of. So that's a lot to remember. I can barely keep track of myself. So
I double paid a bill the other day because of it.
Okay, I've done that, but I didn't know I double paid it. And then the next month I was like, look at me. I don't owe any money. Oh, look at me last week.
It was my kid's dentist. They called me and they're like, we got this check here and you don't have a balance.
You don't need it.
Oh, they were like, what do you want us to do with it? I'm like, just shred it. I don't know.
Okay, wait a second. So, you wrote a check?
No, it was the bank. I know. I don't know where any of my checks are.
Lord, we need to film a whole nother episode. I haven't written a check in ages.
No, it was one of those bill pay things that sometimes your bank will write checks on your behalf. And I didn't really realize that's what they were doing.
No, I'm really enjoying thinking about you trekking down to the dentist office and writing a personal check and dropping it off and balancing your checkbook.
Yeah.
That makes me happy.
Taking it out of my purse.
That makes you really old, though. Just let it be known, if you're out there and you're doing that, you are older than you think. So I was actually looking into like childhood memory, because a lot of times I have conversations with the children and I think, gosh, was I like that? Did I do that? Do I remember that phase of my life, even like a big chunk of time? I really don't remember anything before 16.
Huh.
Is that like...
That's pretty neat.
Is that yeah. Is that like alarming? I feel I'm alarming myself right now.
I mean, a little.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just that it's fuzzy. Like I really don't. I have very few memories. And most of the memories that I do have are things that I have seen in picture on video, not actually things I remember experiencing. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So now you're questioning, like, are these my actual memories, or is this like Inception from home movies? And
yeah, it's wild. I forgot that I was such a big Paula Abdul fan, but then
I didn't think of that.
Don't be startled. And I was at my parents' house like maybe 2 years ago, and my dad had pulled up like some old videos and pictures that he had all scanned into the computer. And I watched a video of myself singing Cold Hearted Snake, and which, by the way, is a kick-ass song.
Yeah, it is.
And so then I have trouble remembering, like, do I actually remember that? Or did I just, because I've seen it, it has now become a memory, which is fine. But this is how memory gets confusing, because sometimes people tell you things that happened. And so therefore you carry that with you, and then they become a memory, even if you don't remember it. That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. I run into that a lot so I'm an only child, and I had a single mom. And so I spent a lot of summers with my cousins, and just, late 80s, early 90s, we were just feral. It was just, they'd go outside and get out of our hair, and we were just roaming the neighborhood. And so now as adults, comparing notes with my cousins, they remember our childhood very differently than how I remember it. And they remember me very differently than how I guess I remember me as a child. And I'm also the oldest, which probably isn't helping matters. So I think they remember me being bossier than I was. And for me, I was just put in charge because we were at my grandma's and she was like, hey, go take care of these 3 rambunctious boys and stay out of my hair until your parents come to pick you up. And here I was with this like overgrown sense of responsibility. And I was like, okay, I'm going to take care of them. I'm going to do the right thing. And I'm going to be the good older cousin. And so now my cousins are like, you were so bossy. And I'm like,
people say that
fair.
to me too.
I was what I needed to be. So we have this conversation a lot.
It's a different, like a totally different perspective of how things were shaping who you are, whether it was who you are or who they perceived you to be in that time period. Yeah. I have the kind of memory loss where like, I start to think about, like I said, because Alzheimer's runs in my family, I start to think about like, am I having like early onset, like dementia? Like I'm 43. I can't have that happen. And they say it's pretty normal to not remember anything up until the age of like 3 or 4, that's like very normal. But also they say like you can develop what they refer to as like childhood amnesia. It's not, I know it sounds very serious. It's just basically the inability of adults to retrieve their early childhood memories. It says that it's completely normal to not remember episodic experiences that occurred from ages 0 to 3 and to have sparse selection of memories that occurred before the age of 10. So that feels like more normal. Like if the kids were to say like, oh, what did you learn in 8th, when you were 8? And I'd be like, I don't know. When did you learn cursive? I'm like, I don't know. Did I learn cursive? I don't remember that. I can remember my teachers though. Can you just like remember all the teachers you've had?
I remember most of them. Some of them I can't remember their names, but I can remember.
You can see them. Yeah. Yeah. I think I can name every teacher I've had it until I got to like junior high when you had, 5 or 6 different teachers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Teachers are making an impact.
That stood out. I remember them by name, but I don't remember their names necessarily.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What about when your kids are doing homework and stuff you're thinking like, okay, your kids are in what, 7th grade, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they're in 6th grade and they're doing some math and they come to you and you're like, oh yeah, I learned this. No.
Why did they change math?
Wow.
That kills me. They keep coming to me with her homework and they're like, please help me on this. And I'm like, I don't know what that is. We didn't learn that. I swear to God, we didn't learn that. Maybe we did, but there's nothing in my brain. Like the other day, my daughter was doing something with scaled copies and she's like, Mom, I have to do this quiz on scaled copies. And how do I do this problem? And I was like, what the hell is a scaled copy? And did we learn that? And I don't remember learning that. And if we did learn it, I certainly didn't learn it the way that you learned it. So I'm no help to you on that.
I'm on the edge of my seat. What's a scaled copy?
I guess it's like you take like a picture and then you have to reproduce it on a larger scale. But there's math involved. And I don't know how there's math involved. Okay. And my kids kind of expect me to know A, what it is, and B, how to do it. And I'm just looking at it like it's Greek. Like I've never seen this before and I can't read that language, So yeah. I have no idea.
I don't remember a lot of things that I learned even in junior high, but my kids will say, well, see, you never even remember anything that you learned. So why do we have to go to school? And I was like, yeah, I get that actually, because, there are things now that I'm like, if I look that up, it would jog my memory and I'd be like, oh, right. Yeah. I knew that. Yeah. Like I couldn't find it in the database, but like I knew that. But learning for learning's sake, I do think is important. So I'm not like dismissing the things that people learn when they're in elementary and junior high, but I don't think a lot of people remember that stuff when they're 40.
No. But I mean, maybe it forms some kind of a foundation and we need it for the things we do remember. I don't know. My kids were asking me that the other day too. And they were like, why do I have to learn this if I'm never going to use it? And my daughter was challenging me on if I use principles of geometry. And I'm just like, nope, no, I don't. But I still think it's important that you learn it. And I can't explain to you why it's important that you learn it.
Well, I always say that it's, you make the argument of a general education that like at the age of 10 or 12 or even 17, sometimes you don't know what you want to do with your life and you don't know what your skills are going to be. And so you have to hone them and you have to figure it out. But I knew graduating high school, I was never going to be an engineer. So yeah, I probably never was going to use geometry again. But lots of folks do continue on in math or do continue on with history in a different way or whatever. But I think it is about sort of like building the foundational knowledge and the skill sets to learning how to learn is what I often tell the freshmen that I work with in college in their first year is that this is the basis of a general education is that we're teaching you how to learn, how to open your mind up, how to process new things, how to think critically. And the more you go to school and then the more refined your education becomes, like then you start learning how to bypass a heart valve or something. That's what I don't know. Nurses maybe do that or something, but yeah, it's very technical, right? They don't? That sounds like a doctor thing. Okay.
I mean, they're there. They're in there.
They're participating. Yeah. They probably know it even if they don't have to actually execute. But anyway, yeah.
I bet some of them do for sure.
I talked about like my childhood and thinking about, traumatic events, but also just kind of like normal events and thinking about what do I remember? And honestly, like few and far between, like, and they're so like, they're not details. They're just like general. It's almost like a dream. When I wake up from a dream, I don't have like, I couldn't tell you an exact story. I just have like I don't know how to describe it, like a vibe, like feeling.
Yeah.
I don't know. And so that's how I feel about my childhood.
I have that with like my younger memories. You know, like the further back I go on my memory base, that's how it is, you know? So my kids ask me all the time, like, what did you do when you were my age? And how did you handle this when you were my age? And I'm just like, I don't know. I did. I survived it. I came through to the other side, but I can't tell you how I did it and what I did. But looking back and like, because my parents were together until I was like 3.5. And I have some memories of my parents being together. So I know my memory goes back at least that far, but it's like you described. It's like a dream. It's really fuzzy. It's like when somebody smears Vaseline on the lens, you know, it's like I can recall it, but it's literally fuzzy.
Yeah. It's almost like when you had a lot to drink when you were 23 and the next day you're like, I remember that I had a good time and I have this bruise. The rest of it is just like foggy. So I've been researching sort of like when is it normal to start experiencing these kind of like what they refer to as blips, which is like when it becomes more difficult for you to retrieve something that you know, right? So like, you know that Cal Ripken Jr. is a baseball player and you're at a trivia game and they're like, who is Cal Ripken Jr.? And you're like, man, I know that I know this and I can't find it. Right. And that's how I feel often is I know that I know something and I'm just like, you know, my eyes start doing that thing where you're looking up above or I do this sometimes like, come on, get there. It's like in your brain only has so much room. I mean, there's only like so much that you can hold on to and your brain has to make decisions about what's important to keep and what's okay to let go to make room for new. I just made that up. I don't even know if that's true, but it sounds like that's the way.
I think it is.
Thank you.
That's
okay.
That's what they said it was an Inside Out, right? You know?
Yeah, this is the kind of reassurance I need. Thank you, Pixar and Rochelle.
That's how it works.
And so it says that it's pretty normal for women to start experiencing these blips. But it's also good to know that people with Alzheimer's aren't often aware enough of their condition to recognize it. So if you're recognizing that you can't find something or you can't think of what you're trying to say, then that's probably just a normal brain fog kind of moment that you experience, especially in your 40s and 50s. So hopefully it makes me feel a little bit better.
Yeah, no, that makes total sense. So my mom actually, it started as breast cancer and then it metastasized into her brain and she's clear in her body now, but the brain is a different situation. And so it's a completely different treatment. So she had brain surgery 1.5 years ago, and it was in the part of her brain that controls motor issues. And so we were told, you know, she's just going to be a little stumbly, a little uncoordinated for a little while. And that's not what happened. And so now we're dealing with memory things. Her doctors think that it probably triggered some dementia. So I'm seeing this play out with her. Yeah. And there's actually a term for what you're saying. And I can never say it right, but it's like anosognosia. Okay. But it's basically like you lack the insight of your own awareness to know that you know something. So that honestly is the biggest thing that I'm battling with my mom, because she thinks she can do these things. You know, she thinks she can live by herself and she's going to leave the stove on one day. Yeah. Or, you know, she got herself into some trouble with a sprinkler repairman and she signed up to have her sprinklers fixed. And she thought that we were all just going to be so proud that she was so capable of doing it. But she got totally
hosed. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, you're totally right. When people actually have memory issues, they don't recognize that they have memory issues. And so that gives me some comfort too, because I'm like, okay, if I'm aware of my own deficits, it probably means that I'm not as bad as I think that I am. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I had never really thought about it, but knowing your own limits and capabilities and even being able to say like, I mean, because of my ADD, there are things that I know I shouldn't do by myself, because I'll hurt myself. Like, I try not to do a whole lot of cooking alone because frankly, I burn myself every time that I cook or I break a dish or I use sugar instead of salt or, that's just what I do. But mostly I know that I can't do like home repair projects alone because I will mess it up. I will hammer my thumb. I will break the mirror. But the awareness is that I know that I shouldn't do those things alone because I know that I'm not super capable of doing them alone without hurting myself. And so knowing that you probably shouldn't drive because you don't know how to get there is different from insisting that you know how to get there when everybody knows that you don't. And so it does say that the first signs of Alzheimer's are often forgetting how to perform activities, not necessarily remembering, your great aunt's dog's name, but forgetting how to get to the store from your house or not being able to remember really everyday kinds of things like your sister's name, right? Fumbling over something like that. But that really regular activities are what they sort of say is a first sign. And that generally those with Alzheimer's are much older than women experiencing menopause. So generally speaking, I have some time. My brain fog is fairly normal, I think.
Yeah, that's fascinating.
Do you have brain fog yet?
All the time.
Doesn't that happen with pregnancy too, though? Sometimes brain fog isn't
sure.
that?
And
yeah,
that's what's hard for me to suss out because with pregnancy, you get pregnancy brain and you just feel stupid. It's like your body's it like channels resources to grow this human. So it's like you don't need to think, you need to grow this human, and then postpartum, it's the same thing. Your brain is channeling other energies into other avenues and then you're not sleeping and then you're stressed out and there's all these other things. And so part of me is like, is this postpartum stuff? Is this the fact that I'm almost 40 and I'm like, am I in perimenopause? Who knows? Because I'm postpartum and I'm breastfeeding and I don't get normal cycles right now anyway. So right. I don't know. And then the other fun thing is I get migraines. And so I get migraines with aura. So they're like the risky, scary kind where you convince people periodically that you're having a stroke and people panic.
So when you say fun, what you mean is terrifying.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
It's great. They're great. And, it depends. Like sometimes I'll have some really freaky neurological stuff that comes along with it. And other times I'm just like, oh, great. I've got a blind spot. I need to go home. I can't see out of one eye, but then I get brain fog for a few days after a migraine. So if I start getting them a lot, then I'm super foggy a lot. And that really impacts your ability to just function, and get through your day and be a parent and go to work and do all the things. So I don't know. It's hard for me to tell what's going on at any given time, but yes, my brain is foggy.
I feel like this is how people, and I'm not trying to give anybody a pass, but this is how people leave their infant in the car and go to work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this kind of brain fog is this kind of, you're doing the same thing you do every day, right? Like I experience it, and I'm sure a lot of people experience it when you're driving, where it's like you just pulled into your office or your place of employment and you think, wow, I couldn't tell you how I got here. Like you're in that autopilot and you're able to just get where you need to be. And then you pull in. And so it makes me think that I could see, as terrifying as it is, how people go about their daily life and think that they brought their kid into the daycare, but really didn't. And then just think, oh, I must have done that because I do that every day. And so then they just go to their office and their kid is like, suffocating in the back of their car. That was really sad. Yeah. I'm sorry. I should we take a minute? But, yeah. Sorry.
I do that all the time. Because I have such a long commute. So, it takes me about 35 minutes to get to work, which, could be worse. I can't complain. But by the time I get there, I'm like, I have no memory of driving here. And that happens often. Or on the way home, I'm like, okay, I've got to remember to stop and get gas because I really don't want to do this on my way in tomorrow. And I make it all the way home and I'm in the driveway and I'm like, well, son of a bitch, I'm not turning around and going and get gas now, And so then I have to remember to do it in the morning. But yeah, you do. You just drive on autopilot. And how many
It's wild, really. It would there are moments where it's totally wild, where I get somewhere, or you're on autopilot going somewhere where you don't need to be going. I get in the car and I'm going to go, to this restaurant. And then I find myself like, oh, wait, I'm at work. What am I doing? Yeah. Turn around. I'm going the wrong way. It's crazy how much you can do without actually even really thinking about it sometimes.
Yeah.
Or
the number of times that you recall information that you just haven't had to use for a long time. The other day I caught myself giving somebody my old work phone number. And I'm like, I haven't worked there in a decade. Why am I
have worked here.
Where is that coming
from? How long have I, so I've been here since 2015. My gosh. So going on almost 8 years. Okay.
I think you started right after I did.
Okay. And the other day, my office phone rang, which, by the way, stop calling people's office phone. Nobody answers their office phone. So just call my cell phone. So I pick up the phone and I answer it and I say, Tulane University, 11 Burnick Center. I haven't worked there in 9 years. Why am I saying that? Why? Where did that come from? And I often find myself when my phone rings at work, which doesn't happen that often, thankfully, thinking of saying, thank you for calling Applebee's on West Point. How can I make you my neighbor today? Why?
Wow.
Why does that even still pop in my head? And I haven't worked at Applebee's since 2001. I don't understand where these things come from. Or like you said, you remember something that you're like, how did I didn't even care to retrieve this. And here it is. Why? I mean, I still know all the words to Salt and Peppa's Push. It's a good song.
Yeah.
But if you ask me right now to say the lyrics, I probably couldn't. But if the song was on, I could sing every word of that song.
Yeah, that's one of my weird talents.
Right. Remembering all of these songs that, where is it in my brain?
Your brain has to get rid of some information to make room for more. And apparently my brain has preserved song lyrics because we will go on road trips and I know all the lyrics to all these songs that I had no idea that I knew. And my husband's just like, why do you know this song? Do you really like this song? I'm like, no, I don't know why that's in there. It's just there. And it's just like osmosis or something. Turns out I knew all the words to Fiona Apple's Criminal. I don't know why.
It would be sort of a crime for you to not be able to sing all of the words to Baby Got Back. I mean, I feel like that's at our age, if you can't sing Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back, that there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
Okay. At least we...
Well, and you know what? It does serve a purpose for me. Yeah. I think one of the best parts of being a parent is getting to mildly embarrass your own children. I live for that. So being able to sing Baby Got Back and just watching my children want to crawl inside themselves.
You've earned that. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm 100% that mom. And then I've been trying to learn the new slang so that I can just mess with them. Because I feel
they don't like it when you use their words.
No, they don't. And I'm really hoping that it makes it uncool and it kills it right there.
No.
So I'm going to be using it a lot more. So I'm working on it.
It's when they say the words, it's natural. When we say it, it's we're trying. Sometimes I plan it out. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to say this.
I camp that up on purpose.
I know. It's crazy. I can't remember a lot of slang. There are some words that I think have stuck around and kind of come and go. Cool and awesome have been things that people have said for ages, or rad, or but and some of those things have come and gone. But the kids these days, they're saying some things that I'm like, I don't think that I had that kind of interesting slang. Does the internet have something to do with the way this kind of thing is spreading? Because I don't remember having all these different words.
Maybe it's just an easier way for them to pass code. The internet just really facilitates that.
Yeah, that's probably true. And texting probably. We
were probably that early generation that had this stupid AOL chat lingo.
I was.
It was dumb at the time. And I've been trying to think of what our slang was. And I really can't remember a lot of it. I guess the closest I can think of is if Polly Shore's lingo dispersed among our population. That would have been the closest thing that we had to it.
I remember like typing things that were different than things I would say. Like if you were typing, you would on AOL, you would type BRB because you were talking to someone and you had to go do something, but you were going to be right back. Or TTYL, you know, because you were signing off, like I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, talk to you later.
But the number of slang terminology that these kids have, I mean, there's probably 10 different things they say in a day that I'm like, I don't know what that is.
No,
they just make stuff up. And I think it does spread fast because of the internet.
Yeah. I mean, and they could make stuff up and we'd have no idea.
I know. That's true. That's kind of sad.
They probably
be outsmarted by them. Yeah, you're right. They should. They should. So if you can think about it, tell me some time that your brain fog has caused you some sort of disaster, like totally forgot to brush my kid's hair on picture day. Just so you know, when they're in junior high, they don't let you brush their hair for picture day though. So don't get jazzed about that. Yeah, they don't. Jackson tried to wear a hat in his school picture this year and they were like, no.
Yeah, you can't do that. Take your hat off.
Yeah. Because
we didn't realize that it was picture day. We had to go in for like a 7th grade orientation thing and they were doing pictures for their IDs. And so I just thought, oh, it's ID picture, like whatever. And we're 2 weeks into school now? And my daughter was like, Mom, I'm pretty sure that was picture day. I'm like, no, that couldn't have been picture day. That's mean. Why would they do that?
Yeah. Guess who's taking retakes?
Yeah. So they had a picture day the other day and I was like, oh, you still have picture day? She's like, no, Mom, that's for the 8th and 9th graders. The 7th graders had our picture day, which like one of my daughters is kind of at that stage of adolescence that she is good about grooming herself and doing her hair and she cares about that. My twin with ADHD is like partially feral. She could not care. I'm glad that her hair, I think, was brushed in that picture. It wasn't styled or parted by hands.
I guess you'll find out. Make sure to get the 8x10.
Okay. I've seen it. I haven't ordered them. I've seen it.
Oh, that was the coolest though. Picture day. Like, you didn't know what you were going to get. Like you would take your school picture and then like 11 weeks later, your parents would get it in the mail and you'd be like, oh my God, what did it turn out like? Now you just like, you see it right away. Lame.
Yeah, I know. It just takes all the
excitement away.
Anticlimactic, you know, it is. I'm trying to remember though, if there's a time that brain fog.
The internet is telling me that there are some things you can do to help engage your brain and keep it sharp. So I need to know which of these activities, if any, you're engaging in. Number 1, crossword puzzles.
No.
Okay.
They make me feel dumb. Do you do them?
No, I just think they're boring. Number 2, play phone games.
Yes, that I do.
You do? Okay. What do you play?
I don't know why, but I like those ones that you can create. It's almost like creating order, you know? So you like organize things and match things together, which like makes you feel like I'm a much more organized person than I probably actually am. But, you know, it gives you a sense of
like what? Like
microcosm of order. There's like a weird microcosm of like matching games. You merge things together and you match them up and you make things like nice and tidy. And
I see myself getting excited about like a phone game where I'm putting all the canned goods and condiments in a pantry in some sort of an order. Is it like that?
It probably exists. Yeah.
I need that. Okay.
I'm sure it does. So yeah, that kind of stuff where I really don't have to think about it. And I think for me, the games at the end of the day are just a way for me to like turn my brain off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, take a vigorous walk daily. Vigorous.
I, as the wellness person,
just say you do it.
I should say that. I do take a lot of walks. And it's something that we do as a family. I try to do that.
Okay, good. See, okay, you're 1 for. No, wait, you're 2 for 3.
Two
okay.
For 3.
Reading novels.
I used to read a lot of novels. Does audiobooks count? So
I don't think it counts.
It's probably the actual like reading thing. That
matters, I think it's the reading part. Yeah. Okay. So 2 out of 4. Take up ballroom dancing. This is a very specific. That's what it says. It just says here. Okay, so here are some recommended activities to engage your brain and keep it sharp during memory fog times. So, dancing. Are you?
I am so uncoordinated. It's not even.
It's not a possibility.
No, like I remember one time in college, we went to a family's wedding and I was dancing with my grandpa and he's like, Rochelle, thank God you're getting a degree because your future is not dancing. This is not your path. And I'm like, yeah.
Let's digress for a second about dancing though. No, this is important because I don't know what happens. I hope my friends don't out me after this episode. Like I used to be able to dance and now it's like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know how anymore. And I look like an idiot. I look like a 40-year-old. I look like someone's mom dancing. What happens to us? Okay. So I used to be able to like jam when I was 28, like shake my butt like people did, I guess. And now I just dance like a mom. Like it's like a rite of passage to just start dancing like a mom at some point. I don't want to be that person, but it's just all I got now.
I've never been coordinated. I've never been the dancing person. I'm the person that people just make fun of when they're dancing. And that has been me my entire life. So
that could also be me and I just don't know.
As much as just maybe alcohol was helpful.
True. Okay, so
I am not a human.
No ballroom dancing. I feel like this next one on our list of ways to help your brain stay fit, you probably do, and it's journal positive experiences.
No,
you don't do that. I feel like that's something you would do.
No.
You have
I'm trying. Okay, I'll take that back. I don't journal. I'm trying to keep a positivity jar.
Okay.
With my kids. Yeah. And we're failing miserably. But the intention was that as good things happen to us throughout the year, we would like write them down and put them in a jar. And that was more for my daughter with ADHD, because it turns out, especially with girls with ADHD, the emotional self-regulation is more difficult for them. And my theory is, at least with her emotions are one of the things that she has trouble with, her impulsivity and controlling. And so she feels an emotion, she just runs with it, and she can't self-regulate that. So I'm trying to get her to focus more on the positive, but it's probably a good thing for me. I am a realist to a fault. It is not in my nature to default to the positivity.
I really like this idea of like writing positive things down in general. I started a gratitude journal. I took a 4-month break. I don't know. Last night I started again. This is how it is to have ADD. But the thing is, I did it for a period of time. And now I'm doing it again. But also we have this jar and we ask the kids to like write experiences down and put them in the jar, whether they're trips or things we did or fun that we had, like the same idea, right? That like you write down these positive things or like something really funny that happened that day that you're probably not going to remember in 5 weeks. And then on New Year's Day, we go through all of our experiences for the past year, and then we vote on which one was the best, just for fun. But this year, I hope you're listening. No one has put anything in the jar. So I don't know. It was going good for a while, but I was doing like 80% of the work. And I got to a point where I was like, I'm not doing 80% of this anymore. And now there's 0% happening.
Yep.
I don't even think
that was literally what we were doing. And I'm looking at my jar right now and all the slips of paper in there are from me. I don't think anybody else in my family has put anything in there. And I even have a notepad and a pen next to it.
Same. Same. I would cut up little pieces of paper, scrap paper, and give them pens. And at dinner, I'd make them write something down from the week. Or like we'd get back from vacation. I'd be like, here are 4 pieces of paper. Like write on them something fun that happened this week. And this is what we'd open them up on New Year's Day. And we'd all like spread them out. So everybody would have like 20 and we'd take turns reading them. And I'd open mine and I'd be like, snorkeled, And I'm like, really?
So there was no context.
Really? That's the note? I like snorkeled. Can we not? I don't know. You told us to write down something fun. Okay, Jesus. Okay, so journal positive experiences. The last one is learn a foreign language.
So I did like years and years of Spanish all throughout like junior high and high school. And the best I got is Spanglish. So
it's okay.
I want to do that. I want to take more Spanish classes. And, I work for a university. I've got easy access to it. I should do that. So no, but it's on my list of things that I want to do.
Yeah, it does feel like a really good way to challenge your brain, especially if you just do like, I don't know, Babbel or something where you spend 30 minutes every day online, just like practicing or learning Italian or something. That learning a language is probably a really good way to exercise your brain.
Yeah, I
should try that.
I think the part of your brain that learns a language is also connected to learning music too, isn't it? I've heard that somewhere.
Really?
So maybe learning an instrument is probably like the same kind of mental flexibility.
Yeah.
Also something I cannot do.
I was going to say, yeah, I've never played an instrument in my life. So, okay. So when's your birthday? So you're turning 40 in how many days?
I don't know. January 29th, end of January.
Oh gosh. Okay. Yeah, you're getting there. So September, October, November, December, 5 months.
Yep.
Okay. So as we close out today, I need to know, what are you most looking forward to about getting older?
I remember my grandma telling us all the time when she would do embarrassing things or things that we were just like, I don't know, like, Grandma, we're going to go to the store, put on a bra, we're going out in public, and things like that, and she I remember her telling me, I'm over 50, I can do what I want.
She's not wrong.
That was kind of her ghetto,
Yeah.
and how am I going to counter that? We were all just like, all right, whatever. Yeah, you're right. So I guess just getting to a point that you're like, I've earned the right to do what I want and to not care and to just be authentic,
Well, and to be comfortable with it. Cause like I've put in enough time with Underwire, I feel like, to say like, I don't need to wear a bra either. Like, I feel like I've given enough of my life to Underwire at this point, but I don't know if I have the confidence yet to do that. Like, I still would throw a bra on before I went to the store or before I even went to pick up my groceries in like the order zone. Like, I would. So I think part of it is knowing that you can and also just being able to do it and not feel weird about it. Cause I could do it, but I think I'd be uncomfortable. And at some point I'm hoping, I'm sure that everybody is listening, hoping that this never happens, but I hope someday I just stop wearing a bra altogether, Yeah.
Or like my mom right now, she just wants to wear stretchy pants and that's great. If you want to rock stretchy pants every day, then cool. But why not? You're not going to work. You don't have to put on pants with a button and a fly. Like, who cares?
Stretchy pants? Is that like yoga or sweatpants or like
all
what?
Of the above?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm into that.
Depends on the season. Yeah. Me too.
It depends on the season. Yeah. It's good. I think your comfort in clothes is definitely one of those things that kicks in as you get older, where you're kind of like, that shirt fits me, but it's a little tight and I don't want to wear a tight shirt anymore. I've done enough of that in my life. So is this shirt a size too big? Probably. Am I comfortable? Yep. Don't care. Yeah. I'm looking forward to that evolving, but not hopefully to a point where I'm also like just not caring about myself. Right. Like I think there's a general balance of still saying,
you want to have a little bit of pride in yourself and to care. And, there's a fine balance. Like, I decided this last year after having the baby that I'm not going to dye my hair anymore. And so we'll see. We'll see if I get to a point that I'm like, I hate this and I dye it back. But for now.
And I think it comes down to like you're doing that for you. Like, right. It's like when you're dyeing your hair for other people and for yourself. And then at some point when it's not for you anymore, you're like, like, I don't need to be doing this. And so I think that is kind of the evolution of, not giving a fuck anymore. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, good times.
And that's probably the best thing that we have as we age. Cause there's all those other things of like, well, this sucks, like I was thinking the other day about all the weird things that hurt, know, randomly. And people tell you like, oh, that's just getting older. Like, welcome to getting older. And you think about it, and there's so much of your life that you're getting older and you have all these different experiences of getting older. And then there's such a small part of your life where you're young and you feel good and you're an adult. And so you have enough autonomy to kind of do what you want. And it's such a tiny window. So the majority of our adult years are spent aging in some way, and we just have to learn to live with it. So maybe the best that comes with it is not giving a fuck.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah. I think for me, the best thing the thing I'm looking forward to about getting older is, this sounds weird, but I like the idea that my day to day would happen earlier. Like I want to like be up early. I'm okay with that. The sunrise is nice and the mornings are quiet, and I kind of enjoy morning time. It just has like this different, like quiet vibe about it than nighttime. And then that I would be eating dinner at like 5 and that I would be in bed at like 9. Like I want everything to bump up an hour or two. And when you have a family, that's more difficult. So I'm looking forward to that when it's like, oh, is the sun down? Time to go to bed. Don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like I'm missing anything. Not upset at all. Ready to do that. And I love like morning. Like I want to retire just so I can have coffee in the morning in peace and quiet. Just like it's, I want to be that person sitting on the porch, watching everybody take their kids to school, and I'm having my coffee and don't have anything to do today. I'm waiting for that.
I am the same. I drive by so many houses and I look at their balconies and I'm like, that would be a nice balcony to just sit on.
To spend my life sitting on. Yeah.
Yes. I have these thoughts as I'm like driving around random neighborhoods, or I'm like, that's a nice porch.
Yeah.
I bet that would be shady in the mornings,
I feel like I never really needed a porch, but as I get older, I think more and more about how when I retire, I'm going to need a porch. Like that's what I'm going to need, because where else am I going to spend my time?
Where are you going to do your yelling from?
Thank you. Where am I going to tell people, slow down, this is a neighborhood?
Yes.
If I don't have a porch to stand on. Mercy.
That's what they're for.
Well, Rochelle, thank you for chatting today and joining me. It was really lovely to talk to you.
Well, thanks for having me.
This is Hot Flashbacks. We're out. Want more? We're on all the major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Just search for Hot Flashbacks and subscribe.